Hello everybody and all aboard to Chef's Choice. It's day 3 of the rehearsals and the first half of semi-final 2 have rehearsed. By now it really seems that all the underdogs have pushed themselves hard with the stagings and they are ready to battle for their spots in the final, while the favourites have all been slightly underwhelming compared to the expectations that we had for them. So I really think we have one of the most unpredictable years ahead of us. If you'd like to see my comments on the rest of the rehearsals, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the little notification bell so you notice me among all the other Eurovision videos that are popping up everywhere. And I have to give a shout out to ESC United again, because I've been following their live stream to know more about the performances and they are really doing a great job. In my opinion, it's the greatest live stream offered by the different creators. Now let's talk about today's contestants. First up, of course, is Norway. It's a perfect opener for the show, I have to admit that. It does almost seem like it's one of the opening acts and not one of the contestants. And the energy of the song is very captivating, so it will get the audience pumped up for the rest of the show. However, the lyrics are still terrible and don't make any sense. I think it's one of those entries that you will either love or hate, like Moldova last year. Back then I completely underestimated Moldova's chances, so maybe Norway will surprise me as well. Its chances of qualification at least are much higher now. Romania. I was really excited after watching the reactions in the live streams of the press room. They all seemed very intrigued and the song actually sounded really nice. The studio version doesn't work for me because it's so slow at the beginning, but hearing it here it suddenly worked better. I don't know why. But then I watched the official snippet and I couldn't quite understand why the press room liked it so much. I imagined it to look a lot more refined based on their descriptions of the performance. In the snippet it comes across quite cheap and gimmicky. But I guess it's something that can work a lot better through the camera. But again, I think chances for qualifying are definitely there. Serbia. They seem to be doing quite a similar performance to their national final, and I don't think it's working. I kind of like the song itself, but because it has these very traditional elements in it, I think the staging should have been more modern and clean. It's very theatrical, and they could have done the exact same performance 10 years ago. So I think it's one of the few that have almost no chance of qualifying, but really this year might be full of surprises. San Marino. I said at the beginning the underdogs are trying everything they can, so San Marino go all in on their robot idea. The press room seems to really enjoy it, but again in the snippet it looks very cheap. I don't know if those are the final outfits that Jessica and Jennifer are going to wear, but so far there's no cohesion. It's just a bunch of stuff and people on stage and it looks like it's their first rehearsal ever, not just on that stage. The robots look to me like a desperate cry for attention, and while it will be fun to watch probably, I can't imagine that people will vote for it. Denmark. It sounds as if they're doing quite the same performance as in the national final, which I find a little bit disappointing. It did work there very well, but I hoped for a bigger version of it. The general direction of it I think is really fitting though, and they use the snowing effect like Ireland, so I'm glad they're not in the semi-final. I think the staging does also fit well to the stage design, of course, but I'm always a bit worried with such theatrical interpretations. Based on the snippet, I'm not so sure yet that it feels modern enough, but so far I'd say they will qualify. Russia. I guess we were all waiting to see how this turns out, and they really did bring the whole mountain idea from the music video onto the stage. But I imagined it to be a lot more impressive. The mountain is very small and there are 2 very cheesy dancers in front of it, so the mountain looks even smaller in relation to the dancers, and you see the cracks between the boards that the mountain is made of. Julia also doesn't sing the high parts in the chorus anymore after the disaster in Moscow, which is a smart move on their side, but I think the main singer should do the main work. But it's fair game to do that. I guess it's also kind of competing with Estonia in regards of the projections, and so far I think Estonia wins the battle. It's almost impossible to judge the performance here, based on the short snippet though. It might work great, but for now I'm leaning towards it being a train wreck. We might know more after the second rehearsal, but this might not be a good year for Russia. Moldova. Again, one of the performances that the press room immediately went crazy about. Apparently they are putting a whole musical performance on that stage that seems to be really funny. During the past weeks I kind of expected that this could be a really surprising entry that suddenly leaves a lot of their contestants behind. Because the song is so much fun and when they translate this energy onto the stage, it can really jump into the top 10. I can't wait to see this whole performance. It seems to be a great follow-up to Moldova's last year performance, and coming in in the first half of the semi-final this might be the most memorable performance. But of course this could easily become very Benny Hill slapsticky, that it crosses the line to being obnoxious and tacky. But if it's done right, I will be so happy about this. Also because it seems to be a performance that is highly enjoyable for the audience in the stadium. Another underdog that takes a big risk, and I appreciate that. While others have theatrical performances that try to be taken seriously, Moldova pushed their staging over the top deliberately, so it becomes almost self-ironic. The Netherlands, there seems to be a lot going on. I thought it was going to be quite a regular stadium performance, but apparently they are doing some quite strange dance moves. So when you already have a song that is so controversial because not everybody likes that genre, I don't know if you should make the performance even more controversial in another direction. I'm afraid they might lose votes because of it. But of course I can't really make my opinion up about this without seeing the whole performance. It might work if you haven't seen the song performed regularly before. But I actually do like the stage setting itself. I think this kind of pyramid formation of pedestals where the musicians and violin are on can look really well. What I find peculiar is when you have these fake instruments being played that don't even look like the instruments you hear. This drum that is played on stage would sound completely different than what you hear. But I want to see the whole performance before I make up my mind. It still won't be my favorite anyway because of the style of music, but I'm excited to see more of it. Maybe I will like the performance aspect of it, but there are a lot of ifs here. Australia, the last one of the first half. I love this song, but I was always afraid that she won't own the stage enough to fill it up. Somehow she never really convinced me otherwise during the pre-parties. But she brings a lot of energy to Lisbon. I'm a little bit afraid though that the song has so much power and energy that it's hard for just one person to carry. Jessica also made some strange outfit choices in the pre-parties where she spent more time pulling her dress up than actually singing, and I don't like her dress in this first rehearsal at all as well. I hope she has a better one in the suitcase. The staging itself is very clubby, and maybe the fact that she's the first act that performs alone on stage could help her, but in general I think we have such creative and eye-catching performances so far in the first half of the semi that this might get swallowed a little bit. So these are all the songs for today. I will talk about the second half tomorrow evening after the rehearsals, and will then also try to quickly predict my qualifiers. If you'd like to see that, please subscribe to my channel. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I see you soon. Bye.